Hello guys, welcome back. So today we are going to be looking at syntax, statements and variables in JavaScript. So remember, we're running a series on master JavaScript from beginner to advanced. It's a complete course curriculum for web development, and we are also going to be teaching EX6. Okay, so this is a topic we're going to be treating for today. And in this, let's look at this slide. So for a basic understanding, you may be asking, what is syntax? All right, syntax in JavaScript refers to the set of rules that dictate how code should be written in order for it to be valid and understandable by the interpreter. Okay, I'm going to use an analogy of English language. In English, we have syntax, we have rules, we have what we call grammar. I think grammar refers to the rules that guide English language. So if you do not structure your words correctly, then it will not be correct. It will be said to have a grammatical error because you did not obey the set of rules. Now the same thing is applicable in programming. It's not just about JavaScript, but it refers to all programming languages. It is applied in all programming language. So every programming language has a rule or set of rules that tells you how you should structure your variables, your functions, and a whole lot of that, whatever you're writing, your script. So this refers to the syntax. Okay, so when you're writing, you don't just come to your code editor and start writing anything you like. You have to follow these rules. Now anytime you fail to obey any of these rules, an error will be generated, and that error is referred to syntax error, because you did not obey the syntax rules. Okay, so I hope this helps. I mean, this is just a basic definition of syntax. All right, so just see it as a rules that you must follow for your code to be valid and for it to be understandable by the interpreter. Remember, when you write a code, that code is being interpreted. Okay, so the JavaScript the language the interpreter has to read and understand what you're writing. At any point that the interpreter did not understand what you're writing, the interpreter generates an error, and the interpreter judges your code by these rules. All right, so you have to make sure you abide by these rules, and we're going to be treating all of that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is the statement. So what is statement? Just like we have in English language, just look at it as where we have in English language. So we have a JavaScript statement is a command that performs an action. Okay, it can include variables, variable assignment, control flow, structures, functions call, and more of that. Okay, so it's simply a command that performs an action. All right, so if you're writing something that doesn't perform no action, it's not a statement. So we have here, let x is equal to 5. Now this is an example of an assignment statement. Now the reason is because this statement assigns the value of 5 to the variable x. All right, so x holds the value of 5. It's an assignment statement. All right, so this is an example of a statement. We have function statement, we have control structure. So there are a lot of statements, just like I have it here in the definition. All right, so there are a lot of them, which we are going to treat one after the other, and the last one we're going to treat today is the variables. So what are variables? What are they used for? So in JavaScript, variables are used to store and manipulate data. Not only, now remember that these are core or basic programming concepts. It doesn't apply only to JavaScript, it applies to all programming languages, because if you go to like Java or C++ or Python, you're gonna see this same concept. So if you understand it here in JavaScript, it will be very easy for you whenever you're switching to another programming language. All right, so in JavaScript or in programming, variables are used to store and manipulate data. So that's why you can see here we have let age equal 25. So age here is the variable. So we are declaring age to be equal to 25. So age is a variable, and this is also an assignment statement because it is assigning the value of 25 to age variable. So the age there is the variable, and then they are in JavaScript. In JavaScript, variables are declared with keywords, 3 keywords: the var, the let, and the const. And we're going to treat all of this in this particular course. So here I'm just trying to give you a basic understanding and an overview of what you're going to be seeing. So enough of this talk. Now let's jump into coding. All right, so we're going to start coding. Okay, I will be going straight to the browser. So the first thing we're going to do now is to set up our environment. So I want you to go to something like download VS Code. This is the text editor that we are going to be using for this course. You can use any text editor. There are many text editors, so you can download it for Mac, Linux, and Windows. So if you're on Mac, you can download for Mac. If you're on Linux, you can download for Linux. If you're on Windows, you can download for Linux. So once you're done downloading this, then you have to open it. I already have this downloaded in my system, so that's why I'm not going to download it again. All right, so I have it right here, and I just opened it. There's nothing here. So to set up our project, we go to my desktop. So in my desktop, I'm going to create a folder. Okay, you can create this folder anywhere, but I want to create it in my desktop. All right, so we'll go to new and then go to folder, and I'm gonna name it JS full course. Okay, I'm gonna name it something like this. Okay, so once I'm done naming this, what I'm going to do, I will open my VS Code. You can see there's no file, nothing yet. So you have these options. Either you use open folder here, or you can go to this file and then open folder. They are the same. In case you do not see this window, you can use this one. So they are all the same. So what I would do, I will go to open folder because I want to open a folder, the folder I just created on my desktop. So I will go open folder. It's loading. Okay, then I will go to my desktop because it's created on the desktop. Where is my desktop? Okay, I will go to my desktop, and then I will search for the JX. Okay, I have JX full course. I'm going to open this, open it up in VS Code, waiting for it to load. Let me click on here and see. So it's opening the folder. Okay, great. So we have the folder now open in VS Code right here. So I'm gonna close up this so you can see it right here, JS full course. So we have to create our file. So the file I'm going to create a HTML file. So I'm going to create index. I'm going to call it index.html. Index.html. So this is going to be my HTML file, and here I'm going to create another file in the same folder. I'm going to create script. We call it script.js. That's going to be for our JavaScript. So inside of here, I'm going to use the boilerplate. Since this course is not an HTML course, we will not really be focusing on HTML at all. It's just for JavaScript. So here I'm going to say JX full course right here. All right, then right before the closing tag, I'm going to include the script that we created, this script here. So I'm going to say source. I'm going to use the source attribute, and I will call the script.js. all right, so this is all I need. Okay, so I'm going to copy. We'll right click here and then copy the copy path, and then I'll go to my browser. So right here in my browser, I'm going to paste I'm gonna paste that part, okay, and then I'll press my enter key and wait for it to load. So you can see JS full course. There's nothing here because I didn't include anything, but let's add something. Let me add h1, and I will say here, welcome to JS full course for, yeah, full course. Let's just have it that way. Then I'll save it. I'll come to my browser and refresh, so you can see here it's working. All right, so we are going to test our JavaScript to know if the JavaScript is properly linked to the HTML. So I'm going to do something like alert, just going to alert something. So alert JavaScript is connected, or I can say it's linked properly. All right, okay, so let's just have this. Save it. I go back to my browser and refresh this, so you can see JavaScript is linked properly. So that means our JavaScript is properly linked. Okay, so here we're going to be using the development tool. So I want you to right click on this window, go to the inspect. You can see right here, inspect. Just click on the inspect, and then head over to the console. You can see the console right here, so click on the console. So this is where we're going to be logging in, you know, all our stuff. All right, so we're going to be starting with the first one here. So we have talked about statement. So let's talk about the variables, because we have to do some examples in variables and also in statement. All right, so let's head over to our JS. Okay, so here, this is where we're going to be writing all our JavaScript. Whatever we need to write here is where, this is where we're going to be writing everything that we need to write. So first of all, we talked about syntax, and we said that syntax is a rule, refers to rules that dictate how a program is written to make it valid and readable and make it understandable by the interpreter. So JavaScript follows, you know, certain kind of rules. So I'm going to write a statement. Let's say var age is equal to 523. Okay, so I'm going to console log. So console log age, console log is what we use to output the result in this console. You can see that this here, the console.log. all right, so this is where we log it. Whatever we log there, when we refresh, it comes over here. Okay, so I'm going to refresh this. Oh, sorry, you can see 23. So this script runs successfully. All right, I'm still going to treat this console log JavaScript output, you know, alert, console log, and the rest of that. So you can see this runs successfully. That means that this is a valid structure. This is a valid statement. That means we obey the rule. You know, there's no syntax error. But let's say we do something like, we reverse it. We say 23 var 23 is equal to age. Let's do something like this. Okay, let's do something like this and see what happens. Now, of course, looking at this, you can see that there's an error here already. You can see it. You can see there's an underlying error. But let's go back to our browser and refresh this and see what happens. Now look at this error. It says uncaught syntax error, unexpected number at this. So the reason is because we did not obey the syntax rule. We did not obey. Now one of the rule here is you cannot use a number as a variable. You cannot use a number as a variable, and also you cannot use number as a variable. So we're trying to use a number as a variable, and that's why it gives us a syntax error. Okay, so if we say something like let my age equal to age. Okay, there's still something wrong with this. Okay, there's something wrong with it. Now the problem with this is that this age is not yet defined. This age is not defined. All right, but the rule is correct actually, because you can assign a variable to a variable. Okay, but this one does not have a value. That is the problem. The age variable does not have a value. So let's console log my age and see the kind of error that is going to generate. So let's refresh. Now you can see it says uncaught reference error. Now remember, the first one was syntax error, but this one is saying reference error. So that was the reason why I told you that this is correct. Syntactically it is correct, but the problem is that age is not defined. So if we come over here and say, for instance, we say var age is equal to 22, now there will be no reference error. Now the reference error occurs because the variable we are referring to or we're making reference to does not have a value or is not defined anywhere. Okay, because this is not declared. The age was not declared anywhere yet. That's why it was giving us a reference error. So right now, if we go back to our browser and refresh, you can see it gives us 22. Okay, now another thing we can do is if we head over here and remove this 22, okay, this is allowed. You can declare a variable and then initialize it later. So what we're doing now is declaring, but we are not initializing yet. So if we head over to our browser and refresh, so we get undefined. Okay, so we're gonna learn about undefined and the rest of that when we get to data types. All right, so you can see that there are a set of rules that need to be followed. So you can see this is wrong because it's going to generate a reference error, and this is also when we say 22 is equal to probably we can say my age. This is also wrong. Okay, this is syntactically wrong. This will generate a syntax error. Why this will generate a reference error? So this is just an example, one example of syntax error. Okay, so it is very important that you pay attention to your syntax. Whenever an error occurs, read through the error and know where it occurs and know what the error message says. It is important that you look at the error message and then know what it says. Then that could really help you in fixing your code. Okay, so the next thing we are going to look at is let me go back to the slide. Okay, is the statement. Okay, just like we said that from here, statement is just any JavaScript that does anything that does perform a specific function. So we have here, for instance, we can say our age is equal to 5. So this is a statement because it end up assigning age to 5. So this is a kind of a statement. Okay, all right, so this is an assignment statement. There are a lot of them. We can say function, that's a function, my function, this, and this is also because we can say return, you can put an argument right here, age, and say return age. Okay, so this is also a statement. This is a function statement because it performs a function. The function, it returns whatever that is given, imputed to it in this place. So let's output this and see what it gives us. Sorry for that. So we go over here and say we call this my function and pass age to be, let's say my age is 33 for instance, for example. Sorry, then I come over here and refresh. Oh, sorry, I was supposed to console log it. So let me console log this function and see what it gives us. Then I'm going to come over here and refresh, so you can see 33 because it returns whatever argument that is passed to it. Okay, so that is that on syntax and statement. So let's get down to variables. Now variables are very, very important in JavaScript. Now in JavaScript we have three keywords that are used for declaring variables. So the first one is var. We can say var age is equal to 22, and we have the let. We can say let name is equal to cd, and we have the const. So we can say like const or const cars. Yeah, const cars, is equal to, we can have the OD, we can have BMW, We can have also, what else can we have? What else? We can have forward. Okay, so these are the three keywords that are used to declare variable in JavaScript. All right, now we are going to look at them one after the other. So first of all, we're going to look at the var. Now, any variable that is defined with the var keyword, exists globally. It exists everywhere. All right, now I'm going to so the var keyword is used to define a variable, and there's something we call scope. All right, there's what we call scope in programming. So scope here, or variable scope, let me call it variable scope. So variable scope refers to the availability of that variable, where can I have access, or the accessibility of that particular variable. But so var, any keyword that you any variable that you define with the var keyword has what we call functional level scope. So what does functional level scope means? Now it means that if you define a variable with the var keyword inside a function, that variable will only be available inside that function. But if you define it outside of any function or any enclosed curly braces, it's going to be global. For instance, this age is global. Okay, so we're going to take it one after the other. If you define it inside a function, it will only be available inside that function. You cannot access it anywhere else. All right, but if you define it outside, it will become global. Now global, we have global variables. So global variables are available, they are available and accessible globally within your application. Okay, so any variable that is a global variable refers to variables that you can access from anywhere. All right, so we're going to do something now. First of all, let's try to access this variable var. So we're going to console log variable, this one. We're going to say console log age. All right, let's see if we're going to have age. So we refresh our browser, you can see age is equal to 44. So we have age right here. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do, let's see if we can access this age inside the function. So I'm going to declare a function. I'm going to call it hello, and that function is going to return, it's simply going to return age, which refers to this age variable that we have here. All right, so we can just console log. Let's console log it, console log age. All right, let's console log age, and then we're going to call this function. Let's call the function, we'll call the hello function right here. So if you do not understand how functions work, do not worry about it. We are still going to treat functions. Okay, so I'm just using this to teach you variables. So let's go to our browser and refresh and see. So you can see we still have 44, and then that is our script in line 5. So let's check where line 5 is. So you can see line 5 is here. We have access to this variable because it is a global variable. Okay, now what we're going to do now, I'm going to get rid of it. We're going to look at the functional level scope. So we say functional level scope are variables that are only available within that function in which they are defined. Okay, so we're going to call var, and we're going to say that age. No, we're not going to use age. We're going to say what we're going to say school. Let's say school, or okay, let's say first name. Let's say our first name is equal to we can call it okay, Ology. Yeah, let's say this. All right, so this is within the function. Now we want to access this variable outside of the function. So let's see, let's console log this, let's console log first name and see if it's going to output this value for us. Okay, let's go back to our browser and refresh. So we are getting uncut reference error, first name is not defined. So the reason is because this is a functional level scope variable. It is only accessible inside of this function. Okay, so if we get rid of this one, or if we move this inside of the function, and then we are calling this function now called the hello function, and we get over to here and refresh, so you see it outputs this. So this is very important. This is a very important concept you should know. Global variables, remember, they are available and accessible within your application. Functional level variables, they are only accessible within the function in which they are defined. Okay, so this is what you should bear in mind. Okay, so I think that is that for the var keyword. So we're going to next look at the let keyword. And one more thing, lest I forget, one more thing. So when we have any variable declared with the var keyword, we can reassign the value. Okay, we can reassign the value. So we can say that age is equal to 50. So remember, here we declare and initialize age to be 44, but here this is reassignment. We are reassigning it. We are saying that age is now 50. So if we console log age, let's console log it and see what it will give us. Age, and we go to our browser, refresh this, so you can see age is 50. So any variable that's declared with the var keyword can be reassigned. Okay, so let's go over to the let keyword and see to it. Okay guys, so for the let keyword, all right, so let keyword, one thing about all the variables is when you define them not in any function, not in any block, they become global. For instance, all the variables we have right now, they are all global variables because they are defined outside functions and outside blocks. So for the let, so one thing you should bear in mind that the let keyword, they have their variable scope. What's the variable scope? The variable scope is the block level scope. All right, so block level scope. So when we say block, we refer to anything inside a curly braces. All right, anything that runs inside a curly braces. So if we define, if we declare a variable with the let keyword inside of a block, which is a curly braces, open and close curly braces, that variable is only available inside of that. So that means even if we have a function and then we have another we have a if statement, and this let is inside of the if statement, it can only be accessible inside of the if statement. So the let keywords is used to define variable that are block level scope. Now remember that that of the var is the functional level scope. Okay, so we're gonna do a demonstration of this. So first of all, we're gonna console log the name. Now this is console.log name. So this is a global variable. The name here is a global variable. Let me use my name. Let me say my name here. Now let me use my name. Okay, I use my name like that. So I'm gonna say my name. So this is currently a global variable. All right, you can access it anywhere. So we'll go back here and then refresh, and let me see what it gives me. Let me see the output. okay, it gives me Cassidy, all right, because currently is a global variable. So let's look at this block level stuff. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use a function first. Function, I'm gonna say hello, and then inside the function, now there's something you should remember. This is a block. It has an opening and closing curly braces. It's a block. So we say block level, whatever that is inside the block, it will only exist inside that block. That means if we have another block here, it will not work. So inside this place, we're going to say let name, let my name. Okay, we cannot use my name again because we already used this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to comment this out, okay, so that I can still use the same my name variable. So let me say my name is equal to Cassidy. Okay, so what we're going to do, we want to access this name outside of this curly braces. All right, so we will say console. For that, we're going to return the name. We're going to say return my name, and we'll say console.log my name. Sorry, the hello, we're returning the function. We're calling the function so that it could return this variable for us, and we want to append the variable right here. So we go over to our browser and then refresh, and okay, let me go back. Yeah, we go to the browser, so it gives us this. It appears the name. Actually, you can see the name because we are calling the function, so it's returning this. But here, let's return the name. All right, my name. Let's try to access. Now remember, when we call the function, we are accessing the variable that is inside the function. But when we call the variable outside of the function, let's see what it gives us. We are calling this directly. So let's go back to our browser and refresh. So we have an error, uncaught reference error. My name is not defined. So not defined means it is not declared. It's not declared anywhere. So that variable does not exist. The name is not in existence because it is inside a block. So we cannot access it outside the block. We can only access it inside of this block. So for instance, we can console log here. We can say console.log my name, something like this, and then we can call this function right here. We just call the function and say hello. So we call the function, it's going to append this for us. Okay, so let's go here and refresh so you can see the name Cassidy. All right, okay, so that is the first one. Now what we're going to do next, we're going to have another block inside of here. We're going to have another block. Okay, we're going to have another block. So the block we're going to have, we will say here we're going to change something. We have to call, we say okay, we'll say if, we're going to add if statement. We say if my name is equal to Cassidy. That means if the name is equal to Cassidy. Now here we have another block. Look at this, we have another block. This is a different block from this one. So if my name is equal to this, we want to say let result is equal to we're gonna call it's the same name. All right, it's the same name. So in this case, now we have another block. Now remember, we say that let keyword defines variables that are block level. So this means that this result variable is not available here. You cannot access it right here. You cannot access it outside here. So what we're going to do, we're going to console log. We are trying to access the result variable. So we're trying to access this variable outside of this block. This is a block. Okay, so let's see if this will go through. But I mean, you should guess. Try to guess in a minute. Oh, sorry, in 3 seconds. Guess what will happen. Guess the kind of error we're gonna get. Let's refresh, and Oh, sorry, I have to call that function. That was a mistake. I have to call this function. So let me call the function here and say hello. All right, call the function right here and come over here and refresh. So you see uncaught reference error, result is not defined. Yeah, because it is already it's in another level. So this is a block element, so we're trying to access it outside of this block. That's why it is giving us error. So when we take this inside of this block, inside of it, and then we are accessing it inside. We're accessing inside the block because it is available inside of the block, so it should not give us any error. So let's refresh this and see what it gives us. You can see it's the same name. All right, so this is how you deal with the you deal with variables as the let keyword and then the var keyword. So the last one we're going to look into is the const. Okay, the const keyword. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay guys, let's go over to the const. Okay, so the const keyword also has block level scope. So we can say const has block level scope. So now remember what we talked about the const, what we talked about the let. So the const and the let are the same in the sense that they have the same block level element, just what we talked about. And now the key difference, the major difference between the const and the let is that you can reassign the value of the let, but you cannot reassign the value of the const. Okay, so for instance, for the let, we can select let my name, we can select my name, or we can select num. For instance, we can say let num equal to 2333. We can reassign the value. We can say num is equal to 45. So this is a reassignment. We are reassigning the value of num. You cannot do this with const. That's the major key difference. Okay, so here let's console log first. Let's see the output is going to give us. Let's console log cars. Okay, so we go back to our browser and refresh it. So you can see we have the Audi, we have the BMW and the Ford. Okay, so we have it now. Now we're also gonna test. Remember we say block level elements. So write function function hello. No, we already have hello right here. So I'm going to okay, I can say hello world. Okay, and then I will move the car variable. I'm going to let me copy it. Let me just copy it and leave the other one. So here I will say my cars. I'm going to say my cars, sorry, so my cars is equal to this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to access this my cars variable outside of the function, which is a block. Remember, this is a block, so I'm trying to access it. Let's see what it gives us. I mean, that should give us a reference error. Yeah, uncaught reference error. My car is not defined. So it's not defined because it is inside of a block. Now we also say that the const keyword does not allow reassignment. So here we already have the const cars, so we want to reassign the cars. So we want to say cars is equal to this time around we're going to turn the this is upside down. We're going to say Ford. We're gonna say Benz. We're gonna say Toyota. Okay, so what we are trying to do here is we're trying to reassign the values of the cars keyword to my cars. Let me put my cars. My cars. So we're reassigning. If you watch here, we're not using the const again. We're just trying to reassign it. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to console log. I mean, that should generate error even without console logging. All right, so I'm gonna say console log. I'm gonna log this, say my cars. All right, so let's head over to our browser and refresh and then see what we get. Wait, hold on, let me see. Oh, sorry, it was supposed to be cars because I'm doing reassignment. I'm trying to reassign. So sorry, that was a different variable altogether, you know. So I'm trying to reassign my cars. We have cars here. I'm reassigning cars variable to this value, and then I'm console logging it. So let me go back to my browser and refresh. So you see we have another type of error. Remember, the first error we had was the type syntax error. We had reference error, but this one says uncaught type error. Now the error message says assignment to constant variable. So we are trying to reassign a constant variable, so that's why it's giving us this error. Now there's one thing I want you to know. Even though that you cannot reassign the const, we can still modify these values. Okay, we can still modify these values can still be modified. So when we get to arrays and objects, I'm going to show you how we do this. I mean, we're going to show you how we do that. Okay, so the last thing we are going to do before we recap is JavaScript variable rules. There are rules that guide how you name your variable. I mean, you don't just name your variable anyhow. There are rules to follow while naming your variable. So that's the last thing we'll look at before we recap. So okay guys, so back to this. So there are ways you could name your variables, and there are ways your variables should not be named. There are things that should not appear in your variables, and there are things that should appear in your variables. So that's where naming convention comes in. Okay, so we use this camel case, we use Pascal's case, we use snake case, uppercase, and then the Hungarian notation example, this name for a string. Okay, so in JavaScript you cannot start a variable with a digit. Okay, you cannot start with a digit. For instance, you cannot say that var 3 apples is equal to whatever. So this is wrong. This is wrong. It cannot start with a digit. So it's something you should know. Never start your variable with a digit. Okay, so another thing, never start your variable with special characters. For instance, let me say dot name. This is wrong. Okay, this is wrong. Do not do this. It's going to generate error. You can see that it's already underlining it. So it should not start with special characters. Now they only allow special characters is the $sign. You can do this. This is correct. It will not, you can see it does not generate any error. This is correct. So you can, apart from outside the $sign, do not use any special character. Do not use this. Do not use the minus. I mean, it's gonna see it as minus, and don't write something like this, my name. So if you're writing my name in this form, you can see it's going to generate error for you. Okay, it's not allowed. And then if you're writing my.name, it's still going to generate error. If you my.name, it's going to generate error. So the naming convention, now remember one thing is that your variable should not start with a digit. That's the first one. Secondly, your variable should not start with the special characters except the $sign. Okay, and thirdly, your variable should not have a space between it. So when you write my space name is not accepted, it's going to generate an error. Okay, so because of these these errors in naming your variable. Okay, sorry. Lastly, do not use reserved keywords. Now reserved keywords are keywords that are reserved, you know, that are set aside for the programming language. For instance, you have the var, so you cannot say var. Okay, no, it doesn't work because var is a keyword. You cannot say var. All right, another keyword here is you cannot say var function is equal to because function is a reserved keyword, and you should not use reserved keywords as variable names. Okay, another one is if. When we say if is a reserved keyword, you cannot use if. If we say let var let, no, let cannot be a variable name because let is a reserved keyword. If we say var const, that is not going to work because const is a reserved keyword. If we say else, no, it's still not going to work because else is a reserved keyword. So you should not use reserved keywords for your variable name. All right, that is another thing. Now, in naming convention of your variables, you can use either the camel case. So in the camel case, if you look at this, you will see that you're going to start each word with a capital letter. You know, when we're writing in our normal English language, I can write camel as like this, camel case with a space. But since variable names does not contain space, we cannot use space as a variable name. Because of that, you can use camel case, something like this. Okay, this is acceptable. Camel case is acceptable. You can use something like my name. Yeah, that's good. That's the camel case. So, and remember, one thing you should always do is to be consistent. If you're using the camel case, make sure you're using the camel case throughout. If you're using the Pascal, make sure you're using Pascal throughout. So the Pascal, it says Pascal convention is just the first letter is going to be small letter, that's lowercase, and then the rest is going to be capital letter. So if I want to use Pascals, in this case I will use something like this. I will just write my M in lowercase. Okay, it's going to be something like this. Then or I can say my school name. All right, my school name, something like this. This is Pascal's. Okay, or you can use the snake case. Okay, now another thing I forgot to mention is that for the special characters, you can use the special characters. The exceptions are $sign and then the underscore. Okay, so the underscore is also accepted. So you can do something like this. Name is correct, is accepted. Okay, yeah, this is correct, is accepted. So the underscore is an exception. So we have the snake case. You can say my name in this form. Yeah, that is very correct. My name, that's for snake case. And then we have the uppercase. So the uppercase is where you use the uppercase throughout. It's still accepted. You can say my name, something like this. So you can see it does not generate any error. Okay, but this works, but it doesn't make sense. Okay, this is not going to generate any error, but looking at it doesn't make no sense. All right, so another one is, we can say here, which is the last one, the Hungarian notation. I can say the string name. So this actually refers to a string. Okay, so I can say num age, which refers to age. I mean this is just the Pascal's notation, or sorry, the Pascal's convention of writing variable names. Okay, so with this in mind, I mean this is all that we have to learn in the syntax, statements, and then variables. So one thing you should I think that we should do a little recap. So we say that any variable that is declared outside of functions and blocks, they are global variables. And then we say that the var keyword is a functional level scope, which means it only exists if you define it inside a function. It will only exist inside that function, but if it is outside the function, it becomes a global variable. And then we say that the let keyword is a block level scope, which means if you define it inside a block, it will only exist inside of that block, and if you're trying to access it outside of that block, it will generate error because it does not exist outside of the block. And then we say that the const is also similar to the let, in the sense that the both of them are block level elements, but the difference is that you cannot reassign the value of the const variable. Okay, all right, but you can modify their values. All right, so and then we talk about the naming conventions and what is accepted. So we say you can start your variable with a special character except $sign and then underscore, and then we say it cannot have a space in between like this. That is very wrong. We also say you cannot use special characters or the reserved keywords. Alright guys, if you find this video interesting and educating and entertaining at the same time, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit on the notification bell so that you get more updates when we post the next video. Remember, we said we're going to be posting 2 times every week until the end of this series. Please don't forget to like this video and share it, and God bless you.